Hello everybody. Till now, in part 1 and part 2 medulla oblongata, we have seen the anatomical position of medulla oblongata, parts of the medulla oblongata, functions of the important function of the medulla oblongata, and we have seen the external feature of the medulla oblongata. We have correlated the external feature with the internal feature, which we can see how this external features can be correlated with the internal feature. We have seen the gray matter and the white matters, and the nuclei which are in the gray matter, and the fasciculi and the tract in the white matter at different level of medulla oblongata, that is at the level of pyramidal decussation, at sensory decussation, and at the level of olive. In the coming lecture, this neuroanatomy is going to be very interesting, and we will see how these ascending and descending pathways are running over this highway medulla oblongata, and we should be thankful to the God for creating such a beautiful human body. This pyramidal decussation is also known as great motor decussation, and we can see here we can see the pyramid. So this pyramid, they are having the corticospinal tract. So this corticospinal tract, the fibers, they travel from the spinal cord via this medulla oblongata to the cerebral cortex. This corticospinal tract we study as this lateral corticospinal tract, and another is anterior corticospinal tract. Here we see this is the central gray matter, and here this is the central canal. So central canal, I am writing in a short CC. This is the central canal, and this one is the central gray matter. This is central gray matter. Now this is somewhat in butterfly in shape, and you can see these are the projection of the central gray matter. So anteriorly it has got a one projection. This projection is moving. You can see this is directed anterolaterally. You can see this one of this side and this side, they are directed anterolaterally, whereas the central gray matter on its dorsal aspect or a posterior aspect, you can see this projection. These are the projection. This projection is of the this nucleus gracilis, and which is just lateral to this sulcus, which is known as posterior median sulcus. In a short, I am writing PMS, posterior median sulcus, and lateral to this gracilis is the cuneatus, and more bulky compared to these two is known as spinal. This is the spinal nucleus, and that tract or trigeminal nucleus is here. So this is connected by this you can see this is a substantia gelatinosa. So actually this substantia gelatinosa is connecting this trigeminal nucleus to, and it extends further downward in the spinal cord at lamina 2. So at lamina 2 of spinal cord. So this nucleus gracilis and cuneatus, here they have got an axon known as fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus, they form a posterior column. So this is the posterior column, whereas this is a lateral column. So lateral column, we have a, can see the fibers. One group is this dorsal spinocerebellar and other is this which is ventrally present, is known as ventrospinocerebellar, and we see another, this is known as lateral spinothalamic tract. So they all together they are known as lateral column. Lateral column, where this one is the dorsal column. This dorsal column as ascending tract move upward as medial lemniscus. As medial lemniscus, that we will see this medial lemniscus at the level of sensory decussation. This fasciculus gracilis is carrying information from this lower limb and lower trunk, whereas the fasciculus cuneatus is carrying the information from upper limb and upper trunk. This ventral spinocerebral carry proprioceptive information from body to cerebellum. Clear? Same this dorsal spinocerebellar do. This lateral spinothalamic tract is to carry information for the pain and temperature, and as well as coarse touch. And now we can see here, this is the pyramid here, pyramid. So the fibers from the contralateral side, so the fibers they run in a direction in a contralateral side, they run backward and laterally, so they form this lateral corticospinal tract. So similarly this side also, so from the contralateral side this way and form this lateral corticospinal tract. So this lateral corticospinal tract is responsible for the voluntary movement of limb. For the voluntary movement of limb of contralateral side, of contralateral, therefore contralateral sides, because we can see they are moving in this direction, so that's why the word contralateral is used. So about 90% of the fibers, about 70 to 90% of the fibers, they decussate. The decussation is taking place at here, but the 10% of the fiber they don't decussate, they move like this way downward. See, so they fibers that do not decussate, they run ipsilaterally this way. So these nerve fibers which are running ipsilaterally, this is anterior corticospinal, they form the anterior corticospinal tract. So they are 10% of this, and they get connected with the spinal cord anterior. So here this one is the posterior, so they end at the anterior horn cell, anterior horn cells of spinal cord. Here these 10%, and these 10% are responsible for rapid skill movement. Clear? So as I said, these fiber, they are running in a backward lateral direction. So what they do, they split this central gray matter which has been extended here, which is extended anterolaterally, that this gray matter gets split due to this fiber, and this gray matter, they have a nucleus. This have a nucleus. What this nucleus is, the spinal nucleus of 11th cranial nerve and supra spinal nucleus of C1 spinal nerve. See, in your professional examination, the question can be asked either in the long. If it is asked in the long, then anything can be asked. Just describe the medulla, its TS of the medulla at the level of sensory decussation, and describe its external features, and like this way. And if it come in the short, it can be asked that give the TS of the medulla at sensory decussation or at the level of olive or primary decussation, and then accordingly you have to draw the diagram and they explain. So we will see this transverse section of the medulla at the level of sensory decussation, and this image is here. We can see this is the that we have seen just now. This is at the level of sensory decussation. So where the sensory decussation is taking place, here the sensory decussation is taking place. See, this is the point of sensory decussation. Now we can see this image is of this pyramidal decussation at pyramidal decussation. So when you compare this image to this image, you can clearly make out the difference. So mini structure which you have seen in this, and here it's means little bit different. So now just compare these two images and then you are able to understand in a better way. So let's talk one by one. So here we have seen this the central gray matter in somewhat in butterfly shape, and here the central gray matter in a shape of triangle. We can see this central canal is here, and the central canal is shifted little bit posteriorly, and this central canal has been surrounded by the series of the nucleus of Tectus solitarius and dorsal nucleus of the vagus, and this nucleus of the hypoglossal nerve. So all these trees are arranged in this manner, and anterior to this we can see this is the medial longitudinal fasciculus, and further moving anteriorly we can see this is the medial lemniscus. So this is the medial lemniscus. So decussation is taking place at this point, and how this decussation is taking place, see when we see here. So in this image we can see all this fasciculi, these fasciculi of the cuneate and gracilis fasciculi. So these fasciculi are absent here, and the nucleus are being much enlarged. So this gray matter is much enlarged here, talking about this gray matter of this nucleus, gracilis and cuneatus, and this is the nucleus of spinal nucleus and tract or trigeminal nucleus. So we can see this fiber. This is the fiber. This fiber is known as internal arcuate fiber. So this internal arcuate fiber are coming through from this nucleus gracilis and going to the other side. So going to the contralateral side. Similarly, can see the fiber of this cuneatus and going to the contralateral side. Clear? So the fiber of this internal arcuate fiber of this nucleus gracilis is more anteriorly compared to the fiber of this nucleus cuneatus. You can see clearly the fibers, the position of these fibers. So this together they are forming here the medial lemniscus and this medial lemniscus. So this medial lemniscus will ascend up as a ascending one. So here to the thalamus. To the thalamus. This is thalamus. This nucleus gracilis carrying the information from the ipsilateral side of lower limb and lower trunk, whereas this one cuneatus is carrying the information from upper limb and upper trunk. Further moving and this anteriorly, we see this is the pyramids. So no decussation at this level, the pyramidal decussation, and lateral to this we see these are the this olivary nucleus. So the mouth of this olivary nucleus is directed medially. Posterior to this olivary nucleus we see criss-cross structure. This is reticular formation, and lateral to this reticular formation, we see this green color one is this is there the here they are the lateral spinothalamic. These are this lateral spinothalamic tract. So when you compare this lateral spinothalamic tract from this one at the pyramidal decussation, they are shifted little bit medially. So we have talked about all the structure except this accessory cuneate nucleus. This here is the accessory cuneate nucleus. So this is present here posterolaterally, directed posterolaterally. The function of this accessory cuneate nucleus already I explained you in the earlier lecture.